please join me in welcoming Roman Kristesiashvili, sharing his perspectives on innovation and sustainable design. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well? Yes. Thank you. Great to be here with you all. What I would like to say, it's actually a great session today. The whole morning we were hearing very interesting developments with artificial intelligence, and kind of naturally I hear more in the afternoon. We are talking more about human experience. And actually, there are a couple of projects I wanted to share with you today where I would like to more articulate the user experience and how we deal with that, using also tools which help us to make a design. UNS, it's a rebranded name of UN Studio. Most of you know us also from the headquarters of Tbilisi Bank at Tbilisi Hill. We are based with our headquarters in Amsterdam and having offices all over the world now. Started by Ben van Berkel and Caroline Bos. We are developing the project which I am going to show you now. The way how we look at the projects is always about the opportunities we see in the task coming from the client, or from the city if they ask us to do more urban projects. As a couple of examples I wanted to share with you is the Museum of Mercedes-Benz in Stuttgart, where eventually trivial exhibition hall of the cars, we managed to make a museum. This is a small video about it. It's actually the place what became very special, that the visitors of this museum having the biggest return of the same visitors coming back to visit again and again, meaning that it's created a space where user experience allows to discover more opportunities every time you are in. Another project where we also placed in the center the user experience, it's a train station in Arnhem. It's actually not just a train station, it's actually stitches back, put apart originally different means of transportation, regional buses, train stops, local buses of the city, and for sure for Netherlands the most important is bike parking. So that's really became a place to meet for people even, so that's very kind of became a signature of the place. So it's not a place to become an icon of the city, but it became a very strong identity where to meet, and which is it's used as such. We also looked a bit differently in designing the new headquarters of Booking.com in Amsterdam, where the task was to rethink actually the office environment, since with the new generation, new talents, which Booking as a company would like to maintain and keep, the main focus was done on well-being of employees. And seeing how the big cities in Europe are developing and having more and more concerns of having affordable living in the centers because of increasing square meter price, this was our response, how actually we can create some kind of smaller environments for living, but at the same time very comfortable with adjustable layout of a small apartment. And probably this project you know all, it's a bridge of Erasmus Bridge in Rotterdam, which initially was a competition to connect north, the city, to the south side of River Maas, which originally were the harbors, and to develop the territory into continuation of the city. But it didn't only become just a connector, but it became actually the icon. That's actually the tattoo of a sailor who sails all around the world. And every time he said that when he comes back to Rotterdam port and he sees this bridge, he feels like at home. And so it really became a kind of a symbol for people who live there. This all can be done by collective intelligence, UN Studio or UNS actually stands for originally from United Network Studio. And as you see, we are spread at the moment through the globe with different expertise. And indeed, I share the same what I heard today from Manuela and also colleagues using a lot of technology behind. That's a driver for all of us, I think, in the coming future. To stay aligned with the time, there is only way. It's only to look forward into the development. There's all kind of thought behind concerns how it develops. We need to move on with the technology, and I think that's a driver for all of us to create something more unique in the future. I would like to now dive into the projects where I will explain a bit better our way how we deal with the user experience. And now actually I realized before I just was coming to the stage that at least the project I wanted to show first, it's Kutaisi Airport. And I think in terms of user experience, there should be some kind of energy in the hall, because I believe at least half of you were traveling at least once through Kutaisi Airport. It started as a very cute and small project when that time Georgian government was expanding their Georgians presence as a tourist destination, and there was it became an intention to create a low-cost airliner hub in Kutaisi, based on the old international airport, which was bombed in 2008 during the small war with Russia. And that time, the demand of the passenger flow was very small, very limited, so the request was only to do the 5 square meters kind of hangar, which will allow people to, in a very kind of direct way, across apron and come back. So we thought of it as some kind of a gate to create a welcoming gesture for guests, because the user orientation of the future users would be the tourists coming mainly from Europe. And this story of welcoming and Tbilisi hallways brought us the colorful approach of defining this gate to Georgia. And the next one was to create a seamless experience of users through not to be kind of ingrained in the machine of security and passport control, etc., which usually airports need to deal with. So that we managed to create through creating in the center an umbrella, kind of open space around which flows will go in and out, left and right. The center umbrella was done from the wood, big wooden structure, so it also allowed us to create a very big span and almost hanging it from the floor. And that created a very unique space, I think, for many airports would love to have but don't have capacity. Is actually external space to enjoy once you're already inside the airport. That was a very quick project. Almost in 10 months it was designed and built, and it took a bit longer time, sure, to fully finalize through all the turbulences of the time, but it became a very successful model, and we were very proud that once it was announced as one of the 14 most beautiful airports in the world, and also put, I think, Georgia on the map of tourism. So it became so popular that very soon the client came back to us in 5 years, asking to triple the size of the terminal. And that's, I think, the most tricky thing, to do something with your own building, which you already have a status. It's fulfilled. It kind of has everything what it needs to for the scale it had to be. And then do something to your own design, which still have a value, and at the same time be very functional and user-centric. So the idea was then how to maintain it was that this sunken garden, which was became very strong design gesture, and also not only design gesture, but also used by passengers, the external hall, we decided to repeat it with elevated plaza above, which would become, if this would be more related to the people who already pass the security and belong to the air side, the other part would become an area for people who are coming to pick up, and for the guests, and actually for the events. So here you can see a bit this plasticity of the two elements balancing this long longitudinal hall, where you have in the center the entrance hall, and to the left you have departure, and to the right you have plaza, and underneath there is arrival. So it was kind of intention to create a garden accessed by everybody, and that it also becomes a destination, not only for passengers, but also hosting some events. Like we were even proposing that it could become as an additional stage for Black Sea Jazz Festival or any other activities, which allows to expand the presence of and celebrating certain events. That actually, this type of events are, I see more and more often happening in Europe, that festivals are not anymore done in one space, but they are spread through the city. And that would be still a good opportunity to do it. And the biggest focus while we were extending the terminal was to look at the passengers' experience and what it can lead to reduce their stress of travel and enhance their being in the airport. The first thing what we looked at is the transparency, because it comes from original small airport where we used it as a gate, so you could kind of see through and a bit understand that there is a air side being sighted, and then this is a land. So the transparency through by maintaining the very narrow strip of the airport as a building, we were able to actually to create a very transparent environment, so which allows actually through the main hall to see even the apron. So this kind of excitement, celebrating the moment of arrival prior to flight, when you are more excited, kind of helps you to identify where you are. We also used these red elements to a bit signaling which area is. So under the red area is arrival hall. And we also animated the kind of plaza of arrival to two levels with an active stair, which in the end, what we realized that was the most usable spot for people who are traveling. The most interesting was also to look into what kind of conditions passengers are going through while traveling. So first is excitement, then you definitely get into a quite stressy moment when you have security control. Doesn't matter what you carry, but because of waiting, packing in, packing out, I travel a lot, you see so many people are forgetting their stuff or telephone or something, because it's a stressful moment. Are you catching the flight? So, and then you have kind of, you relieve after the passport control, and then you kind of bored, because then suddenly you have a lot of time to wait and what to do. So we wanted to kind of understand that how these behavioral moments of human being, how we can influence it and make it a bit more balanced, so we don't have very strong stressed values going up and down. So what we created is, for example, at the security area, we on purpose lowered the ceiling with the wooden panels and used warm temperature lighting with to 2700 Kelvin to kind of create this kind of more homey effect, so people are less stressed. It was just enough for security in terms of luxes on top of the surface, because there's always a balance between what we would like to propose from, let's say, from interior, from experience side, and what are demands from the from stakeholders like security police and border police. And that actually created this mapping of different zones where we were kind of reacting on with the means of architectural tools and light, how people can be brought to the same level of, to cheer them up and keep them happy. So there's a couple of slides, but most of you probably know it already quite well. So also above the passport control by arrival, it was done on a low ceiling, a bit more cozy environment. The most boring part, when you are already through everything and you still need to wait for the luggage, we also created this kind of wooden panels, the wooden furniture to kind of give a bit of release of the stress and get waiting, and then you would get out. And I think this image, while you're driving around Kutaisi, it's quite catchy in the night, especially because we have a lot of night flights in Georgia. I think it keeps this kind of spirit of kind of lantern, which kind of invites and keeps you safe there. Next project, which I want to share with you, and I see I have only 5 minutes left. It's completely another side of the globe. It's in Texas. It's a quite fresh project for us. We just finished it beginning of this year. It was a request to create a completely new LRT, so kind of tram line for the city of Austin. City which was previously below 1 million, currently is 2 million population, and they predict that in 5 years it will grow to 4 million. Has at the moment currently no proper public system. They have some buses cruising around, but since of this rapid growth and previous no need, since as you know in America most everyone is driving the car, this became big project for them, and they, as a client, the city already had a project in place. Technical project was already done. They had already a lot of alterations, how many stations, which direction. So this was all predefined, and they could even go directly to the tender to build it. But they realized if they place it on the market like that, people will not be attached to it, because in America it's also a bit different kind of attention towards the public transport. And they realized that they first need to embed it into people and make it part of actually of society of the city. So this kind of definition of ease of use, personal choice, and a community belonging became kind of slogan for us to join this project. Joining this project was a big tender. It was not through just selecting company. We were a consortium of big names and big specialists, but it was done through interviews. They were really interviewing us one by one, each director, to match the needs, like if somebody would hire you to get a job. So in the end, we got this project, and everything started. And that's actually where architecture suddenly, for us, in our mind, had to be dropped fully out, because we were not allowed to design. We had to describe our design, but not show it. And I think that's something what, first, it really shaked us as architects. But then, now talking about all these AI tools, etc., where also you are not kind of, you are selecting, you are not designing, you are kind of co-creator, shaked us a lot, and actually predefined a way how probably, in a way, certain projects in the future will be developing. So first, we had to identify what these stations mean, because it's not about designing canopy. It's actually had to start from the point when the person probably comes out of his, or maybe even having coffee at his place, and decides how he will go to his work. So how to make sure that he makes decision that he wants to take the tram and not the car, and takes the line and enjoy and goes through the city across. And that actually was all coming through this first mile, they call it, when you step out from your door and you need to reach this tram stop, then arrival, what you do there, then you still need to wait for the tram, then you're in a transit, and then your last minute you need to step out and walk to your work. So this all was a very deep meaning how to do it. And that's actually what we created. So we used 4 distinct kind of mapping, which we did. And the first was about cognitive mapping. I will just quickly describe later. Space syntax mapping. Then this was combined into agent-based modeling when we were testing how it behaves. And then how it was concluded into the design guidelines. But just to drive you quickly through, because I'm already out of time, we used physical people from the city. We selected different types, who is rushed, who is safety concerned, with the children, We gave them glasses which also, they record your movement, but also record your pupil, so meaning that where you are looking at, so these are the red dots are actually showing. Then next to it, there was also, because they're also having some kind of bracelet, which was also counting the step counts, heart rate, skin temperature, etc. So this all gave us a cognitive status of each person. And all of them were given this task, like you need to get here from here in the most quick time. So what they do, and they're analyzing: is somebody jaywalking, or is somebody, if he's lost, to find out where the station is, where transit is. So this was all analyzed with our team, who are not architects actually. They're more kind of scientists in cognitive studies. And that actually gave us a good outcome, so of the key points where we need to improve, what we need to pay attention in order to maintain the future modeling. The next one was how actually recognizable the station area is, from which corridors, so you can already signify these letters A, where from you already start kind of attracting people as a magnet. And next was actually the area of station area with influence, where you would park your maybe a small mobility hub for your bike or etc., shared bikes or scooters, how you get to your station, where you would have a coffee part, etc. And then next one was also how do you provide the information, on which level, because you don't also want to overload information in one time, so you need to kind of create a sequence of information so it's easy to understand, and also for different type of users. That all actually ended up with agent-based modeling. We did it with Vienna-based company AIT. So all these dots are actually people, and obviously, but each color actually represents one of this typology, which was, so we took all the data from these people who physically were walking in the street, and we applied it to these dots. So they're all, some of them are rushing through, it's a bit done in a quicker mode, loop, but they behaving according to what we learned from this people's behavior when we were doing the cognitive study. And that was giving us some findings about, like, if two trams are coming at the same platform at the same time, if there is enough space for them to come out, disembark, embark, if certain position of the elements are on the right spot. So this was kind of giving us a bit of ideation where it goes. But in the end, it's about nature and human, because all these tryouts we did to test how it works was just done for people focused. And then next step was to create performance basis, because in the end you need a canopy where you would have sufficient shadow, because it's in Texas, so it's shading was a very big factor that it also becomes successful, that people feel comfortable stay. We start testing purely not through shade but through different conditions, what it means, double shading, etc. And then shows through some grasshopper script, we are creating the optimal organization of the platforms for different conditions, because there are central platforms in the downtown, which has a bigger capacity, and outskirts would be less people, so you would need a different, and plus to have additional shading, because not always you would be able to shade under the actual platform, because sun is moving in the evening to the side, and that had to also react on that. In the end, it was creating a kind of catalog of different typologies, which was allowing us to react first to orientation, southwest, east-west, due to the sun movement, also capacity of the perrons, or like stations, for how many people it should be. And then that was identified in elements which would fill up the platform to create an environment where people would like to stay. It's not just a shelter, small canopy, which is lonely standing in the empty space. And that actually was end of our project. We had to just prescribe in books of each of these chapter below, user journey guidelines, system-wide elements and strategies. All these elements were books of 100 pages with a lot of text and a lot of diagrams without any design. and that we had to kind of swallow that, yeah, in the end probably there's something what, because from this we could design now 5 or 6 options easily. But it was already so predefined of the parameters, and not only kind of performative driven parameters, but also cognitive parameters, which allowed us already to be sure that these, let's say, kit of parts, we call it, because all these elements do actually belong to a successful project. But we are still architects, and we couldn't resist ourselves, so we quietly made a couple of, after consulting with the client, we also produced a couple of visualization, not focusing on canopies, because they didn't want that it becomes a tool for future tender contractors to estimate bigger price unnecessarily, because that was also a big factor that any design which would now we or somebody else bring to the design and build tender which they would go for, that would immediately by default elevate the starting price of the bidders. And that was politically also important, that there is less emphasis on the actual design of shape of these elements, but rather environment which you would like to create, which needs to be maintained. And that's actually, my time is already over. I'm sorry for that, but hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.